How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk a little bit more about the Democratic Party's presumptive nominee in Joe Biden. The elephant in the room, straight away before we get into the article that I got to mention, is the fact that Joe Biden does not look good and has not looked good throughout this entire campaign process. Be clear, this man is 77 years old and will be 78 this year. He doesn't really look good physically, but that's not really the problem. The problem is his mind is leaving him. It's not really there. Look at Joe Biden 15 years ago, 20 years ago. He was sharp. He was witty. He sounded much better. He looked much better on his feet. He was able to be quick and whatnot. Now, I'm not saying I'm a Joe Biden fan. Don't get it twisted. I'm talking about just his behavior was sharper back then. He'd say some crazy things and do some crazy things, but that's not the equivalent of your mind leaving you. So you can be of sound mind and make bad decisions because you think it's a good thing to do. You think it's good to do the 94 crime bill. You think that abortion is a good thing because mentally you have thought about it and you took time to process it. And then you came out and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. What's happening right now is that mentally he's not able to process things very well. You know, if you ask him a question, he may not really be able to understand what's going on with the question. This whole thing with the virus has kind of helped him to avoid some of those situations where you got to be in front of crowds and cook on your feet. But at the same time, it's really just highlighted how bad it is. He's doing these live streams on this channel, and I'll link to his YouTube channel in the description box below if you want to check it out for yourself and not just hear it from me. But in the actual live streams, he is not really there. This is on his own channel, so can nobody say, oh, well, that's edited, that's not real footage, it's a fake news. No. This is on his channel. So you would think anything on his own platform will make him appear to be at his best. But it doesn't, because you cannot make a man like Joe Biden appear to look good. Check this out.
This is Sarah Haynes. In Hot Topics, we talked about Trump saying the government would reassess the recommended period for keeping businesses shut and people at home. Are you at all concerned, as Trump said, that we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself?
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what.
What are you even saying right there, sir? I played that clip quite a few times trying to figure out what was going on, to see if I missed something. Maybe I'm just not understanding what the question was. Maybe I did not understand Joe Biden, but there's nothing to understand. There's nothing to figure out. He was just not making any sense. He has been doing that repeatedly throughout this campaign process. Some are going to say, oh, that's just gaffes, ABL. Don't try to say his mind is slipping. He's always made gaffes. A gaffe is when you say a thing that's offensive to some people and you don't really know it. Like his whole thing about, oh, you can't go into a corner store without having a slight Indian accent. That's a gaffe. He meant to say it. He wasn't saying it on accident, but people got offended by it. It was, in poor taste. That's a gaffe. What he's doing right now is he's showing you that mentally he's not really there. He can't really keep up. He's not sharp anymore. He's dull as a butter knife. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what's going on. It's not gaffes. It's cognitive decline. And the Democrats know it, which is really a shame. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden at all. I think the Democratic Party are ridiculous at this particular point in time. They've gone way over the edge of leftism. But I don't think it's right to put this man out there like that when you know, Democrats, that he is a few trees short over four. He's got 1 foot in the grave. Let that man stay home, hang out with his grandkids or whatever the case may be. Don't have him out there on the campaign trail. But the Democrats don't care. There is an article from The Atlantic that pretty much puts it in a nice little nutshell for you to consume. I'll place the headline and the subhead on the screen before you. You see the headline. It reads, "Stay alive, Joe Biden." Subhead: Democrats need little from the front runner behind his corporeal presence. Now, what does corporeal presence mean? Basically, we don't need anything from you, Joe Biden, except for you just being there as a body. Just a physical body that's not dead, or at least not all the way dead. Just be there and get through November. That's all we need from you. We don't care about your personal life. We don't care about your health. We don't care about none of that. Your ideas or anything. Just make it through. Maybe they think they could pick a vice presidential person to come in there and take over for him once he gets in office, when he's no longer able to be the president, if he's able to win. Okay, nobody in the Democratic Party has as much steam behind them as Joe Biden did before the virus thing. I think the virus stopped any kind of steam he may have had, because he can't go out there and campaign. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a double-edged sword for him. He can't go out there and campaign, which makes it less likely that he'll embarrass himself on stage in front of a lot of people. But at the same time, he's doing these addresses from his home, I think in Delaware, and he's embarrassing himself that way. You're just having less episodes of embarrassment. I mean, you're going to have some. If you see him on television, YouTube, or whatever the case may be, social media at all, he's going to embarrass himself, but to what degree? If he's not able to campaign, then that can hurt him. Although he's not able to embarrass himself, he's also not able to communicate with the people and present his message to anybody that may be listening and think that he's doing a good job. So I'm not sure what the Democrats are really wanting. I'm hearing about people in D.C. laughing behind his back that are in the Democratic Party. People, like the deep state, if you will, the swamp, if you will. They're saying, well, we know he doesn't really have his marbles there. We don't really care. It doesn't matter. So what? We got to put somebody in there. And that shows lack of compassion. If you have compassion for people like the Democratic Party say they do, or at least purport themselves to do, then you would not put Joe Biden out there on the stage. Okay? Anybody else would be fine. And Bernie as well. Bernie is no different, in my humble opinion. Bernie Sanders has more of his mental there. He's pretty sharp, but physically he had a heart attack and he's 78 years old. He'll be 79 this year. If he were to become the president, I think he would turn 80 within his first year, 80 or 81 within the first year. Way too old. These people in politics, once they get up there in age, should go ahead and drop on out. I think Nancy Pelosi is 80 or will turn 80 very soon. These people are way too old. They have to go. And if you are experiencing serious problems with yourself, like Joe Biden obviously is, then you should be allowed to drop out. I think he would like to drop out, but the Democratic Party don't want that. They're pushing them forward. They're pushing them out there, pushing them. And at a certain point, how much can you push this man who was on his last leg before he collapses? It did the same thing to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Remember that whole scene when she was in front of the van and couldn't move 2 feet to go from the curb to the van? They had to drag her. She got earrings and stuff popping off her body. It's like, what's going on here? And she was mentally sharp. Now, this guy, Joe Biden, is declining physically and mentally. When you see him kind of, not in the big lights and whatnot, in that Shade Room interview, he looked terrible. We're talking about Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. He's 78, but look, 108. Let that man go home. Democratic Party, practice what you preach. Get more diversity of thought and of people rather than the same old establishment types like Joe Biden, who's been around since the 1970s in politics. Get a newer person, a younger person. You had it with Barack Obama. What happened? Oh, he didn't do a good job, huh? So now you got to go with the old standbys to try and get some votes. What's going to happen here is the virus will be defeated. Trump's going to look great. The economy will resurge. And then come November, nobody's going to be talking about Joe Biden as a serious person or anybody from the Democratic Party. They may try to put somebody in there in the 0 hour. They're talking about Hillary Clinton. They're talking about Cuomo from New York. They're talking about all kind of random people. It doesn't really matter who you put in there if it's not Joe Biden. The damage has been done to the Democratic Party's brand. It'll be a landslide victory for Trump against whoever the nominee is. As of right now, it appears to be Joe Biden, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to be a landslide victory. Not only will Trump win the presidency, we will also, on the right, keep the Senate and regain the House. It'll be a wrap. Supreme Court justices, all kind of new rules, regulations, and whatnot, the wall going up, all that good stuff. Even though you're putting this man out there who does not need to be there to try and get some more votes. You're going to do this to this man for no real reason. It's a crying shame. You should stop that. If you have a heart, Democratic Party, jokes aside, politics aside, let that man go home right now. He can't even, even after the whole virus thing is over, are you going to put him out there in the campaign trail? Are you really going to do that? I don't think you should, although you probably will. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think Democrats are being insensitive with how they're treating Joe Biden? They're putting him out there on the campaign trail knowing that he's not well. If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or are they doing the right thing? Is Joe Biden a strong candidate that will lead the Democratic Party to victory? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. You know where I stand. Joe Biden got one foot in the grave. He does not look well. He should be allowed to rest. Go ahead and retire. Hang out with your grandkids because the clock is ticking. Once you get up there in age, you can't live forever. It's not fair for him to be out there having to do this with the Democratic Party. If you want a candidate to be strong, Democrats, how about you support more of your own people at a younger age, rather than a guy that's 78, 79 years old, still trying to run, who was having obvious mental problems, and the other guy had a heart attack on the campaign trail. You guys got to stop. Invest more into the younger people. Practice what you preach. Diversity, youth. Do that for real. Maybe you might have a better chance. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.